Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good whatever time it is, wherever you happen to be. I'm your Master of Ceremonies, Thoughtless Virus. Uh, Today, I got just a weird email. Well, I shouldn't say a weird email. I got an email from a friend of mine. I haven't talked to in a long time. And he goes, hey, I know you used to, run RPGs, and you probably still do, which I do. He goes, I wanted to get into it. I know we played a little bit back in high school, but I wanted to kind of get into it more and get back into it. He goes, what do I do? So that started me thinking, there's a lot of people who don't know how to get into it, who want to get into it. Or some people who don't even know they want to get into it, want to get into it. So I thought I'd make a little series here on how to get started with role-playing games. It's going to be at least 4 parts, possibly more. You'll have to excuse me, I do fidget quite a bit, so you might see me fidget on video here, but, what do you want? And my hair is apparently a disaster because of what I was doing earlier. Anyway. Okay, got my stuff down there, got my pops down here. Okay, I'm good. So, getting started in role-playing games. Now, there's a lot of ways to get started. A lot of people will be like, oh, they have this thing called D&D Encounters. Go to that. You can do that. That is an option. D&D Encounters is basically, game stores will run it. If you have a game store near you, check to see if they run encounters. Basically, you make a character, you bring a character, you go through an adventure, you come when you can, you show up when you can, you play, you leave. It's about 3 to 4 hours, I think, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I played it. I only played encounters once. I wasn't a big fan of it. But basically, it's a pre-published module that they run, and you play through it, and, it's a good way to get into it. Here's my big problem with encounters. You don't know what you're getting into. And by that I mean, a lot of role-playing games are based on the people you play with. So you could be going into a game with people who are very, very different to your style or what you think what you would want to play. Man, my glasses are dirty. So you can spend, half the night making a character. Go in, join a group for encounters, sit down, and 15 minutes into it, you don't want to be part of the group because of the fact that, this person is, one person is completely dominating the game, or one person is, everyone else seems really passive, or, you don't like the style that the DM is using, or whatever. So encounters also has the problem of, if you don't know how to play, you could end up with a group that doesn't really want to teach you how to play. And I have encountered this with certain DMs. They won't want to teach you how to play a game. They'll expect you to know it. It's not often, but it does come up. But that is one way to get into it, is encounters. Another way is to just get your friends together, see if they'd be interested in, learning how to play it as well. The only problem with that is you have this kind of collective ignorance, where you have 5 or 6 people sitting around a table, and everyone's read the rules, but no one's really played before, so you have this weird time where someone will think one rule works one way, someone else will think a rule works another way, and it just it breaks down. Because you have 6 people who have no frame of reference for how the game is supposed to be played, or how the rules are supposed to work together. And they all kind of think slightly differently. So it leads to this moment where the DM will be like, oh, you make this roll, and you make it, and you think you've succeeded. And the DM's like, no, you failed. Well, the book says this is the number I need. Well, this is the number you actually needed. Well, why is that? And you get this it can break down into an argument. So, again, that's kind of a situation where you can ruin friendships like that. No. But that is a situation you may want to avoid. I do recommend the friends route as the best option, just because of the fact, though, that if you say right in the beginning, I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm just trying to learn as we play, and all the other people are like, yeah, we're just trying to learn as we play too, then and you accept that, the first game's gonna suck. The first few games are gonna suck. We're all just trying to figure out the rules. That's fine. That works. The best way I've found to solve that situation even more, though, is make, by yourself, well, you know what, let's go back. Let's rewind this a little bit. First, you need a book. Okay, I hesitate to inflict this upon anyone, but this, I don't know if we can get a reasonable shot of it there. There we go. This is a 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons player handbook. This is the only book you need to get started playing. Now, started DMing, that'll be a completely different video. But, no, let's bring that back. This book has everything you need. It is about 300 pages long. And this has everything you need to get started playing Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. As much as I hesitate to inflict 4th edition upon anyone, it is a good place to start, because it's not rules light, but the rules are... It's much more simplistic rules, for the most part. Unlike earlier editions, where certain characters had abilities, you wouldn't be able to list all those abilities on your sheet. This is what, evasion does, and this is what improved bull rush does, and this is how, trip works, and there's only so much room on your character sheet. The advantage to 4th edition is, I'll get the book back here, and actually, almost half the book is taken up by this. Let's see if we can get a good shot of it here. Yeah, my camera sucks, I know. There we go. Eye of the Warlock. That is a power. And basically, everything you can do is a power of some kind in combat. And that's it. I mean, it's listed right in that entry, and you can actually buy cards right from Wizards. There's also a lot of nice ones online you can just get for free and then print out yourself, or print at, like, say, your local Office Max or UPS store. That'll have all the powers right there. They're each a power, and you just keep that card in front of you. I want to use Eye of the Warlock. Okay. I want to use Valorous Strike. Okay, I want to use, whatever. And all the information's right on that card, tells you how much damage it does, or how much it heals, or, what effects it provides, whatever. It's all right there on the card. Or, for the most part, it is. And that's very handy. It's great, because then once you make your character, and once you've, got all your stuff on your sheet, and all your powers are selected that you're going to have, you don't need the book, for the most part, except to, check certain rules. Oh, well, I thought this was an attack of opportunity. Well, no, it's not. Oh, okay. So you're right here on page, 205, or whatever. But for the most part, the book stays off the table, which is kind of useful. The big problem I have with inflicting 4th edition upon anyone is it's not a role-playing game, R-O-L-E. It's more a role-playing game, R-O-L-L. What I mean by that is it's a combat game. That's what it boils down to. It's more, you throw dice a lot more, there's a lot less interactivity, I would want to say, or a lot less interaction even from player to player or player to NPC, non-player character, someone non-combatant controlled by the DM, like the Lord of the Land or whatever. And I mean, it's good to get started with, because it's so rule simple that you don't have to think about it as much. So yeah, it's a good place to get started. Now, let's say you already know how to play. Say you want to play Pathfinder. And you already know how to play Pathfinder. But you're the only one who knows. How do I teach my friends how to play? This is also a good way to get started if you don't if you don't know how to play and don't want to start investing in books, excuse me, you don't want to invest in books and all this stuff to get started, but you want to know if you're going to like that style of game. This is Descent, 2nd edition, Journeys in the Dark 2nd edition. I have 1st edition as well, but I recommend this one. Much better. It's a board game by Fantasy Flight Games. It is D&D kind of dumbed down a bit, and it plays almost like 4th edition does. They cut out a lot of the more advanced rules, but it's great to get started with. It is fantastic for getting started with because of the fact that it literally includes everything you need to play. It's got quests, it's got minis, it's got maps, it's got, special powers, weapons, armor, all the stuff you need, rules on how to play, and it doesn't expect you to know how to play an RPG before you start playing, like most role-playing games do. Most role-playing games, with maybe with the exception of 4th edition, expect you to know what a role-playing game is. Yeah, there's a section beginning, what is a role-playing game? And, no. Just no. They go very quickly into, stranger terminology or, heavier rules, and you look at it and you're like, I don't understand any of this. But, it's there. So yes, I do recommend, if you're going to get started, either 4th edition or get Journeys in the Dark. When I stop talking over my words, Descent, Journeys into the Dark 2nd edition. Both are great to get started with. So let's say you have friends that want to play. It's great for them too. You can take the role as the DM or Overlord in Descent, and they play the heroes, and you just play. Now, if you want to get them started in role-playing, or even if you're starting in role-playing and it's, no one knows how to play, there is the, what most people think of as the dreaded task of being the DM. Who's going to run the game? Because role-playing games work on the premise that you have one person who has created this world and put in all these obstacles for you to contend with, and the players have to somehow overcome them or, suffer the consequences. Someone has to be the DM. And I am going to have a video on getting started DMing, and it will cover both getting started DMing as a new DM, or if you already know how to play and or getting started as a DM when you're new to a game, or getting started how to play, how to DM once you already know how to play. Because they're two very different worlds. I'll also cover things like how to find players, and how to deal with players when you have issues with them. But yeah, so for getting started, I do recommend either 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons, if you want to go straight into a role-playing game, which, again, it's not horrible, but there are certainly far better RPGs out there than 4th edition, and I do recommend, if you're going to get started doing RPGs, don't do 4th edition for long, because the minute you try something else, you'll probably like it better. So use 4th edition just as kind of a springboard. Don't invest too much into it. Don't, go out and buy like 15 books and be like, oh, now I can play all this 4th edition. Then you realize, oh, if I went and played, say, 3.5 or 2.0 or Pathfinder or Shadowrun, they're much more enjoyable games. I can do a lot more. There's a lot less restriction on me. 4th edition plays almost like... It plays like an MMO. It really does. And to be honest, if I want to play an MMO, I'm going to go play an MMO. I'll go play World of Warcraft. I'll go play Guild Wars. I'll go play, Old Republic. I'll go play Anarchy Online or EVE Online or whatever. I'll go play something. Something besides 4th edition. Yeah. So, 4th edition, Descent Journeys in the Dark. Either of those are really good. You'll want to get away from them quickly. I do recommend either Pathfinder is a good game. If you're looking for a more hardcore kind of rough survival game, 2nd edition D&D, if you can get your hands on Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books. Although they are Wizards is reprinting them, which I'm all for because I love 2nd edition. But that one is much more restrictive. Well, not restrictive per se, but much more rules heavy. This is the best way to describe it. And it's much more survival based, I want to say. Your characters are not anything special, to the point where even commoners can fairly match you. Granted, they'll have less hit points and, they'll have less of a chance to hit you, but for the most part, a couple of commoners can take down one level 1 hero in 2nd edition. So it's much more gritty, much more hardcore. Yeah, that's a good stopping point for this. Like I said, for getting started in role-playing games, that's the way I recommend it. Either 4th edition, Descent Journeys into the Dark, or if you want to jump into something a little more hardcore or a little more advanced, you can start with Pathfinder, because that one's not bad either to start with. Alright, I'll see you guys on the next video.